everyone, welcome back to my Earth Friendly Kitchen. I'm Maria, your host, and today we are baking cookies. It is fall season here up in the upper east coast of New York, up in New Jersey, and I just love baking in the fall. I think because I hate turning on my oven to bake in the summertime because it's so hot and you just feel like, what is the point of AC if you're going to do that? I still do it sometimes because I can't go a whole season without cookies or cakes. But I love fall baking. So today we are making some maple sugar cookies. My husband just absolutely loves maple cookies, and we can usually only find them seasonally. So I came up with this recipe, and I tweaked it from a recipe that I found, I should say, online. And he just loves it. So I'm going to make them for you today. So first we're going to get started with our dry ingredients. We're going to take 3 cups of flour. I'm using my gluten-sensitive flour that I get from Italy. You can get any flour you want if you're not gluten-sensitive, or if you're celiac. Use gluten-free. Usually I like the 1-to-1, like King Arthur, or what's the other brand? Bob Mills. They have like a 1-to-1 baking flour that I love for gluten-free. So if you have that option. All right, so 3 cups of that, and we're just going to sift it into our bowl. Now, you don't have to sift your flour if you don't want to. It's an extra step that I really enjoy because I think it actually makes the cookies a little bit lighter. It's like a purposeful thing. It's not like for no reason, that you do this. But I just like it, and I have this like large colander / sifter that I like to use. You can get the ones you go with, but I don't have that. I just use my hands. So just makes the flour just seem like much finer to that regards. So then we're going to do my baking powder. We're going to take 2 teaspoons of that baking powder. Keep multiple baking things in one container so I can save space. So we're going to do 2 teaspoons of that. Guys, look how cute these little measuring spoons are. They're like little hearts. We got them in a like a wedding favor bag. It was just the cutest. I thought, what a clever idea, these little hearts. And it says dash of tenderness, and it tells you what they are on the back. I think there's one that says like a sprinkle of love. It's like so cute, right? Like, I love things like that I just like make the kitchen fun. And then we're gonna do half a teaspoon of salt. Now, you would think it's weird to put salt in your baking goods, but salt actually is very important sometimes to help bring out the sweetness of your foods. So salt is a very, very important part of baking because without it, it just kind of makes things fall a little bit flat, So I'm just giving that a little stir up, and then we're going to put that to the side for now. Now, in my mixing bowl, if you don't have a stand mixer, that's okay. You don't necessarily need to have a stand mixer. I just happen to have one, and for, filming purposes makes it a lot easier than you seeing me, mix it. But if you have a hand mixer, use a hand mixer. We're going to put 1 cup of softened butter. So I like using stick butter for this, for baking like that, because it comes out, it's already measured. This is half a cup for 1 stick. So it just makes it like easy. I love that they did that. Whoever came up with that was definitely a baker. So 1 cup of stick butter, and then 1 cup of light brown sugar. And we're going to pack this in. And what that means is you're not just going to sprinkle it into your cup. You want to really press it down, because that's what the recipe calls for. Sometimes you don't pack it in, right? But you want to make sure. Say like this guy is like a clump. I want to make sure he's all packed in there. So I'm not just break it up, because with baking, you have to be a little bit more precise with baking. I mean, you could still do things that make it your own, and you can be creative in the flavor profiles and whatnot. But baking is actually very important to be pretty precise with your measurements and your ingredients, because it really does change the composition of the bake. Because the ratio, for instance, of say flour to butter or sugar to, milk or whatever it is that you need it really depends on the consistency. So you might get like a more cakey cookie or a less, doughy bread if you don't really bake, use the precise measurements. So 1 cup of packed brown sugar. And I guess I could have taken this guy out, made my life easier, but it's fine. All right, so we're going to whip those together. We always want to start with the whipping of the butter and sugar together until it just gets really nice and fluffy. And then to this, we're going to wind up adding our eggs and our maple extract and vanilla extract. So you just want to get it nice and whipped up. See how nice that looks? Oh, so creamy. And then just going to pull this up. Okay, and then we're going to crack our egg in our little bowl here. Make sure we get no shell in there. And we'll just toss that inside. And then we're going to do a teaspoon each of vanilla extract and maple extract. Now you could add any kind of flavor really, because this is just a pretty basic sugar cookie, right? And it's really the flavor profile that you're changing up with the maple. And maple extract, I think, is pretty potent, it's pretty strong. So, you don't need a ton of it. And the vanilla just gives it that like traditional, like more sugary cookie flavor. But you could do almond extract. You could make this with lemon. Like in the summer, I love to make like a lemon sugar cookie just because it's so bright, and we even like zest a little bit of lemon in there. Just really adds like a nice flavor. So you could just play around with it. If you want pumpkin spice, you can add pumpkin spice to this. I love me a pumpkin spice. I'm very basic and I don't care. Come at me, whatever you want to do in the comments. But I love pumpkin spice. You can't take it away from me. My favorite time of year for that. So we're just going to beat that all together again. So you'll see it's really starting to form like a batter. I'm just pulling it up here like that. Okay. And then we're going to start to add our dry ingredients. And we're just going to do it a little bit at a time so that everything gets really well incorporated. So maybe about a third at a time. And it seems like, time consuming to do it that way, but really it helps just make you for a really nice, even dough. And while we do that, I get to clean up my station a little bit because I'm going to need this space here in a minute. Okay. And then you speed it up a little bit to get it through. Now, when you're doing this in a hand mixer, you may have to adjust your speeds a little bit, as you go along, because, you're doing it by hand, and you want to make sure that you're not, over mixing or under mixing. So just keep an eye on it, for that. I mean, whoa, see, too fast. It flies everywhere. I mean, but what is my channel without a little bit of mess, guys, right? I mean, come on, you know me by now. So, all right. Now it's starting to really thicken up. We're almost done with adding the flour, so it's becoming more of that like cookie dough consistency. And then the last little bit will go in, and obviously we're going to scrape down the edges. And we're going to get all this out of there so that way it can get mixed in. I like using like a rubber spatula like this for the baking because it really helps me get like the edges off of my bowl here. Okay, so there's that. And you have to contain yourself because as much as you want to, you really shouldn't eat the raw cookie dough because it has raw egg in it. Not the best. Potential for salmonella. So you have to be strong, willpowered, and not eat the cookie dough. But, I have to slap my husband's arm away sometimes because he's all about the cookie dough. He likes it a lot. All right. And then we're going to do that scrape to get all that flour from the edges. Like we don't want to miss. Okay. And then get this in here like that. Okay, and this is just about come together. Now, the best thing about this dough is that two things. You don't have to chill it. So a lot of sugar cookie recipes, you have to chill the dough for it to really like come together nicely. But for this one, you don't really need to. Like, I find that it works just as well. And you don't actually, these cookies don't spread that much. So, you know, you can just do it right from the bowl onto your table here to do your rolling out. So just so nice. See how it comes together really, really nicely. So I'm going to flour my station here. Just a sprinkle here around so that nice clean tabletop here. Countertop. Tabletop, maybe you're working on a table. Tabletop, countertop. And then I'm just going to dump about half of this dough right onto the counter. See how nice? And then I got my handy dandy rolling pin. You can use whatever you need. Make sure you flour that. You can use a wine bottle if you want. I know some people have done that. I've seen on like videos and stuff. And then, oh, this guy doesn't want to roll all the way. I think we need a little bit more flour here. That's okay. Sometimes, you know, dough's a little bit wet and you just work with it, you know. And you want to roll this out till it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Because, you know, again, the cookies aren't going to spread that much, but they're sugar cookies, right? So they're usually pretty thin. So about 1/4 of an inch or so. That should be good. Okay. And we're just going to cut them out. Fun shapes. I have this little pumpkin here we're going to do. I've got little kitty cats, little like black cats for Halloween, a little ghost. My daughter loves little ghosts. She thinks they're cute, little witch's hat. She's going to be a witch for Halloween this year, so that's going to be really fun and cute. And then, look at these. I found these. They're little cut out like maple leaves that you just like pop out. So, and they like imprint with the leaf on them. How cool is that? I didn't know if it was going to work. I love when things work like that. Just push it down. Look how fun. Oh, I'm going to make more of those. Because they're maple cookies, right? Let it, oh, the guy didn't get the imprint. Let's do a maple leaf, right? For maple cookies. All right. So we're just going to take that and we're going to take our sheet pan. Now, I love these baking mats to use. You can tell they're used a lot. This used to be like plain clear white. They are great silicone mats for baking. They help keep your pans a lot cleaner. It's easier to clean up. And you can just lay them out and the cookies go really nicely on them. And they really work very well. So I'm just going to take this dough away so I can get to my cookies a little bit more. All right. And then let me get a spatula here. Flour this guy up too, and we'll just scoop right underneath, just like that, on straight onto my, oh no, I smushed my pumpkin, guys. That's okay, it'll still eat deliciously. Okay, all right, he's a special pumpkin. So get our little ghost here. Get right on there. We'll get our leaves out here. So cute. I'm so happy that these little imprints worked. You know, it's like you buy something and you just don't know how it's going to go sometimes. And then when it works out for the better, you're like, score. This is really fun. I love things like that. So, all right. You know what? I think the issue is today with this dough, because I make this dough all the time and it's usually not this moist. It's actually very warm outside today. It's very warm. It's got a high humidity temperature. And so I think that's causing my dough to be a little bit more wet than usual. That's okay. We adapt. Just put a little bit more flour and mix it in, right? Because dough is pliable. And we'll roll it out. Because, you know, it depends on where you are. It depends on your temperature outside, depends on your elevation, and it depends on a lot of things for when you're baking or cooking in general. So, you know, don't scrap the dough. Don't throw it all away. It is workable, you know. You just gotta adapt, shift, right? We're scrappy people around here. We can do that. See, look, that was much better. Comes together even perfect. Make another little ghost guy here. Okay. Oh, he looks like he got his head hit by a zombie. Another little witch hat here. And like I said, they're not going to spread. So you can put these guys pretty close together. And they're not going to, you know, be... Oh, watch this. This is where I really got it because I thought I could just pop them out. But, I guess this guy didn't work. If my dough was a little bit drier, I probably would. There we go. And they're not going to spread, but you still only want to do one batch at a time, which is pretty consistent with most cookie recipes. If you put too many cookies in at once and you layer them on top of each other, they're going to burn some of them on the bottom and they're not going to cook on like the top layer. So you just want to be consistent. So we're going to put this batch in the oven for 8 minutes, let them cook, and then we're going to work on doing the rest of the dough for more cookies, and we'll come back and show you how they look. All right, see you in a few minutes. Okay, so welcome back. It's actually been about 30 minutes, and the reason why it took so long is because I made all the batches of cookies. Remember, they baked for about 8 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and so I wanted to have them time to cool off as well because they need to be cool for the next step. Now, this is what we call the piece de resistance. This is what makes them extra mapley. It's a maple icing that we're going to do. So it's just 1 cup of confectioner's sugar. And we're going to sift that just like we sifted our flour because it makes it, again, just nice and light. And it just helps the glaze become that much more smoother. Because when you do an icing, you want it to be smooth. Because you see how you have like these little clumps that come through with the powdered sugar? That would actually clump up in your icing. Even when you try to stir it out, you may not necessarily get them all. So sifting it really makes you have a really beautiful icing for your cookies. But look how cute they are, guys. They came out so good. They're really nice and fluffy. They're nice and brown on the underneath side. That's exactly what you're looking for. Really nice browning on the bottom of your cookies. And then we're not gonna ice all of them, but we're gonna ice some of them. And I'm just gonna get the rest of these little lumps out. But they're really gonna the icing just adds such a beautiful depth of flavor. You could even make these into like sandwich cookies if you wanted to. If you wanted to make like a little cream stuffing to put in between them, that would be awesome. All right, so 1/4 cup of maple syrup right into the cup of sugar. And you're just going to mix this together. Now you could whisk it. You could use a spoon, a spatula, whatever you want to do. I'm using a spoon because I want to be able to just take this spoon and spread on top of my cookies. But that's why you want to also make sure that your cookies are cooled, because if they're not cooled, it'll melt. It'll just slide right off the top of your cookie. And you don't want that. So you see how that just comes together real nice like that? Really smooth, beautiful looking, glazy icing. So, and you're not going to put a 10 on them, right? And the perfect thing I love about icing is that when you have something like this that has little imperfections on top, you just glaze right over it. So I'm just going to spread these out nice and even. You want a thin layer, but you want it to be, over the cookie. And you don't have to do it all over like this. You could drizzle it on top if you wanted to, just like that. You see, you could take this and you could just, drizzle make a cute little fun design. I mean, just get fun with it, you know? I mean, it's Halloween. Looks like little spider webs, you know? It's fall. It's fun. But like I said, see there's just little imperfections here? Oh, now this ghost looks great. And this is a fun activity to do too with your kids, you know. My daughter loves helping me in the kitchen. She's not here right now, otherwise she would be in here helping me do this as well. It's just so fun. Get fun with it, get messy with it, and just, you know, have a blast in the kitchen. And these are just so delicious. I just can't wait to try. So this icing will dry, and it'll dry a little bit hard, so it's not going to be wet like this. But I can't wait. I just can't wait. Let's take a bite. You still get the very classic sugar cookie vibe, just with that added maple fall flavoring. It's so delicious. It's so easy, guys. Have fun with it. This made about 3 dozen cookies for this recipe. I mean, obviously that would depend on the shapes that you use, the size of the cookie cutters you have, but for me, 3 dozen is great. I'll be happy to share these with my neighbors as they come around trick-or-treating in a couple of days, and we'll see you guys next time. For more recipes like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Bye!